It's you. You know, this moment is here to be grabbed. We've all heard new paradigm get thrown around. Everyone's sick of it already. No one's allowed to say the word mandate, which is good. But I think the best two words that have been bubbling around this moment for me are the two words game on. It is the words that I think the Prime Minister and the Leader of the Opposition said to themselves when they shook hands in the Parliament on the first day. They said, game on. I've seen it in plenty of media coverage when, things have looked a bit unsettled, game on. And I think for regional Australia, this is the mind frame that I hope everyone has, is that it is game on for us in driving an Australian productivity agenda for the better. And in that regard, I was really pleased to hear what Elizabeth said, which was, I think it was step up or stump up, one or the other, because ministers, local members can only do so much. I can shake a hand with a Prime Minister and cut a great deal that was up there before, but I can't bring it home alone. That is up to everyone in this room to connect, to get strategic, and to really, whether it's dust off old applications in the bottom drawer that weren't successful in the past and having another look at them and, recalibrating them for the moment of 2010, or whether it's really being aggressive on some new applications and, looking at value adding on things like broadband and the opportunities that will be around a rollout that is coming in some form in this region sometime soon, regardless of the political debate. How you can value add to the education push we're making in this region right now. The strategic plan for the Mid-North Coast on the education front is excellent, and I'd encourage everyone to have a look at it, where we are now looking to be pretty aggressive in pursuing a 25% increase in a whole range of either retention rates or attainment rates at a secondary and tertiary level in a 6-year time frame. That is a pretty aggressive play in the strategic plan. The council has locked into the Bradley standard of 40% of people in this area having a bachelor degree or higher by 2020. We're coming off a 12% base in this region, so we've got to have our skates on. It is ambitious and aspirational, but that's the game on moment. We can, I think, choose to be aspirational and aggressive, and I hope everyone's up for it. So my message is I have cut a deal. I've cut a deal on your behalf, and I can do so much at my end to bring home the game on moment. I now, and my political head is largely stays on or gets chopped off thanks to the work that you do or don't do. And I hope you like my head on my shoulders because this is an important moment, not just for my political future, that doesn't really matter, but this is an important moment for this region to start to lead, and it is an important moment for regional Australia to start to talk about how it can lead the agenda, the productivity and the participation agenda of this country. And I'll just step it through so we're as clear as possible. Step one was I did a deal, a formal agreement. Step two was the commitment from government and the people commitment and the structural changes that the Minister was talking about. I can vouch for the fact that they are serious about it. And I haven't mentioned this to the Minister, and the Prime Minister, in the negotiations that were going on over the infamous 17 days, drew the organisational chart. So I've got a bit of paper with her pen, which is that. She gets it. And I would hope now that is a sign that these guys, Labor Party, are serious in communicating with you, with us, and with regional Australia. So there's that people commitment within government. The third is, the right people for the job, and I've mentioned the Minister there. The fourth step is bedding it down, and I think the strategic plans is important. I also mentioned, and I know they're here, Mark Arman, and Renee Hawkins from the Keep Australia Working Committee. I don't know whether others from DEWA are here. I'm suspecting that's the DEWA row. Look, I think sitting nicely alongside the RDA work in regions where they are Keep Australia working regions, and for most in this room who are Mid-North Coast, we are one. I think they do sit very closely in parallel, and it is an important connection that we've got to also always make reference to. It will be a crazy moment gone wrong if we have a strategic plan from the RDA, from Keep Australia Working, from the council, none of them talking to each other, all well-intentioned, and you know, we just spin our wheels in a whole lot of different directions. So far so good on the Mid-North Coast. They are all talking, working closely, and hopefully that's the same for other regions, but particular reference in the bedding it down stage to our ongoing commitment with the Keep Australia Working work. And then also the role that councils play. I think the connection to councils in regional areas is an intimate one and an important one. If you're not talking to your local council about you know, your proposals that you want to get up, they're not going to fly. I think that was the coded message we just heard from the Minister about governments rather than government. You know, if you are not engaged and having the support at that local government level, you're going to be battling to get a lick of that money or to be part of the agenda of governments moving forward. The fifth step, just to repeat, is the people. I think we've all got to step up, and this is an exciting moment for all of us. And I'm sorry, I've probably given people more work, not less, in you know, the politics of the moment. But it's work that, if it's done well, it will get a result, rather than work that you might do and then think, I'm sending in something and I don't think I'm going to hear anything back for 2 years. I would hope there is that sense that we are being listened to, and there is this opportunity now to bring home some real outcomes. And then the sixth and the final one is probably just going to pick up on what Andrew said at the start, and what I hope is a theme of this conference, and which I hope is a growing theme of debate and public policy in this country, and which is the reference I made to Uncle Bill and Indigenous Australia and the link. Place matters, you know, place-based policy matters. Canberra has struggled with it for some time. You know, the silo mentality is I think everyone in this room would have heard and talked about the silo mentality of government, where things just come down in different channels and nothing connects in between. I think in our first phone conversation after the election, I talked about the showerhead model as a variation of that, where just things come down in streams without really thinking about the bath and the other way of looking at it of you know, a bottom-up approach that rises to the benefit of all. So you can go to previous speeches before elections. This isn't some new crusade. Place-based thinking is a really important one for regional Australia. It is a particularly important one for the Mid-North Coast. If you look at a map of our region, we are the home of Australia's native vegetation. We are the home of Australia's Indigenous population. Up the east coast of Australia, Sydney to Rockhampton, is where more than half of Australia's Indigenous population lives. We are the home of growth and all the challenges around urban design, urban planning and growth. At the same time, we're the home of services struggling to keep pace with all of that and struggling to interconnect with an Indigenous history, with a native vegetation corridor for this country. We're it. And for us, place really matters should matter in the thinking coming out of both Sydney and Canberra, and we need to work hard to make it matter, because we will lose native veg, we will lose our Indigenous history, or we will lose the growth opportunities and getting the right outcomes from those growth opportunities. We will struggle to have services keep up with growth if we don't argue the case of place strongly. So the entrenching for me happens at a number of different levels, but no more importantly than at the level of entrenching place-based thinking within public policy discourse in the future. Andrew was talking about it in his speech. I think it's going to come up in other speeches today. I hope you think about it, you reflect on it, and back it to the hilt, because in that regard as well, it is game on for place-based thinking, for localism, regionalism, whatever version of words you want to use for it, and I think that is the real exciting moment for Australian public policy and discourse. So thanks for having us, and hopefully catch up with a few of you over a cup of tea sometime soon.